tonight at past midnight Eastern local happy healer time and past 9 p.m. on the Pacific Coast. Your happy healer for president is here now live with you. Here I am. Yes, it is true. Times now, they couldn't be more concerning. It is time to take a stand in our country, and we just know how true it is. You know, I just can't tell you the kinds of visions that I have just from my intelligence alone, from which the clear future that we all know is just right there. We could almost touch it. Either way, it could be great or it could be bad, and we have the ability within the human spirit to get it done. That's why I appeal to you to reach with me into that human spirit and to pull out the love is the only thing that has any possible hope of overcoming the greed that is killing our nation, our people, our way of life, driving us into a war in which we are losing with ourselves, with our enemies, and it doesn't stop until we have our complete destruction. So we have to get serious about our times. We have to have grown-ups show up to the room that have the talent and the forethought to get the job done, and the leadership and the inspiration to inspire the people. And that, I contend, is your happy healer for President Keith Landy. To me, it's obvious anyway. Oh man, it just couldn't be so much more obvious to your happy healer love. Because we know how serious these times are, that if we don't react now, that we'd either face a certain death because of our global environmental problems that we're not bringing in the times that will solve those problems, my fellow Americans. We have to do this work. If we don't get to this work and we continue to play Donald Trump's petty squabbles, then we'll continue to lose down this road in the Civil War. And either side only gives us a civil war. Every single time each one of these guys ever tell you, I am not prepared to be president of the United States, you just remind yourself that they are walking us directly into a civil war. This world is a place where nothing exists. We're spinning on this blue planet in the middle of a large pitch black darkness with gleaming streams of stars through the summer night. We have life on this planet, and life itself is a miracle, yet it all goes back to the first point. Nothing exists. Nothing is a very scary thing in the world of happy healer love. Love is everything in that world. Hate and the opposite of faith says hang on to the reality of our experiences, the materialism, but nothing insists or tells us to hang on to love. Love is an automatic human response, repurposed and repackaged and recirculated when it is at its very best. Yet, the very experiences we have in this place that was created for us by something and from somewhere does one thing over and over. It causes doubt. And that doubt reinforces that the truest essence and value in this world is nothing. That is the net result of lack of faith, folks. Indeed. We have all the reason and common sense alone tells us to believe. And yet, because of the hell that we see and the constant no-show on the part of any third party to intervene, again conveys and confirms the existence of nothing, no love. Where there is no love, there is no hope. And your happy healer's candidacy for president, we get beyond all of that stuff very fast. Because your happy healer is fast, furious, and foremost always a believer with true faith. Love is what comes out of that. The answers seem to come straight through the divine, and when love is watching and looking for in this time, then it's what you're looking for. You just come up empty. And folks, it's our main reason for being here. It is our purpose, best represented in the candidacy that was brought up by the very power that will also fix our national security threats that we clearly face in our country, and it's love from the bottom up. Compare that from the hate from the top down, and love wins every time. That is the power of love. I perceive, I convey, and I relay, and I love because it's our deepest, most important task, and simply because it works. It allows your happy healer for president to go about doing the great work of our time with a clean, precise vision of what must get done. And today's confusion is comforting love. but so much more. It's also the clarity you seek in times of confusion. It makes the next move so obvious. I'd be the only president that sleeps well at night knowing that we are appealing to the highest, most powerful force in the universe, and that we're smart enough to have done it doing all of the right things for the people, and all out of love. And the people will sleep well too, because I come representing Americans who love and want a better future than a civil war that others are acting like is our fate. If it's our fate to have a civil war, then in our campaign, then you automatically know that when I say we are the only qualified candidates, yet we all represent our candidacy and the love that made it possible. We shall never forget that every time I make new progress and another step up, it's all of us going up together. I wouldn't leave any of us behind. Not the billionaire who is also held down in a world at the heart of it is a human being without the full spectrum of the human spirit present, which can only be present in love. Love serves all. We are all victims to this greed. The right people are the American people, and in our campaign of love, not least love for a party over love for each other, but love unites Americans, even the distant Americans, from one another, and makes our union in that love stronger than ever. This is a campaign of love, but it's also a campaign of strong, steadfast leadership and the vision that we can all trust in. And that love, coupled with courage and vision, guides our way in these trying times. That love will result in and ensure so much more progress, driven by the progress of passion and the results that we achieve, and the results that ultimately become the derivative of love that works for the American people. That love which brings in the correct results, the only results that have ever mattered, which makes all of the other candidacies cease to matter in the face of the Happy Healers candidacy, and that is our campaign. And I am nothing without you. I never forget that. Remember, I started from nothing, and when you lift me up, you empower me, and henceforth, us. Think of this. Our enemies seek to destroy us by sparking the flames under our discourse and incivility, which has led to a soft civil war now playing out in the United States of America. To be honest, folks, it's a bad case for freedom itself and self-determination. Our very self-determination is under attack, and so is freedom itself in this civil war, and make no mistake about it. But realize, this isn't the people's actions. And if we are to realize, protect, and defend, and live a free, happy, and wholesome life that ensures self-determination, then you know that we're doing right, because that's the story behind our founding. Because of love and because of you. That's right. Don't listen to what anyone tells you, because it's all spin and only helps those who seek to divide us. We need unity, and it takes love. Your Happy Healer love has that in huge stockpiles and on reserve, and we call upon you to come on by and pick some up. It's so easy to transfer and can never be blocked. Why? Because it's the power of God, the embodiment of love and truth. The difference between me having no food at all and being here talking to you, running for president of the United States or not, is love. I am your Happy Healer love, and that is so fitting and perfect for me and my particular candidacy for president. Remember, it was never about me having to be president, but just one of us who love and with longing one best of times and understands fully that demonizing any segment of our population is just another form of the hell that we are already in that is fueling our civil war. So, it is fitting that my candidacy starts at rock bottom, where I am literally without medical, my dental issues, my house is under foreclosure, and so much more. Yes, it's true that I love, and that love does not pay so well in America. We are going to change that and let the essence of God fix all of our problems. which is love and truth when we need it most. It's really love in place of fake hate and lies, but so many other things as well. We have to be sharp in love and makes it all possible. It's really love in place of fake hate and lies and so many other things as well. And we have to be sharp and love makes it all possible. Yet I get the most important ingredient correct every time. And that we know it works and it's fitting and it's the way out of our mess. And I was convinced from the start. And that is why I say it's fitting that I start out humble, yet a whole man shining with envy for God and with love. That God's honest truth is the way forward in life. And now with this situation, America's greed spiraling out of control, our very lives are at stake. Indeed, and in fact, you know just as much as your happy healer love, that love is the only way forward. And that, folks, is the candidacy of your happy healer love. God bless you. God bless this great country too. And may God bless the United States of America. Make sure you donate, get involved in this campaign, and follow what we are doing, for we are the campaign that has the answers for the American people that work for all of us. God bless you, and good night. We will be introducing a special concept tonight in our drive to victory. Love in a real and complete way. I'm going to speak like a politician of the past instead of today's modern political version of fake sincerity. I propose to my religious friends that this is the most powerful weapon that we have, that this is the embodiment of God himself. We feel this truth every time I feel love, just as I feel love for you is this moment when these words to you, and we know how powerful that love is, and just the way it's dealt out by your happy healer love. And we'll win the day like never before. And that's if we can get to the very essence of what we mean by self-determination. My fellow Americans, what we have here today is a lack of any determination at all. Today, it is more like indetermination than determination. It's to head into a civil war without a clue of a sense of even why. I ask the average American who don't know, and either do I. It's just conjecture, and the truth has been sitting there the entire time, God's way, enough to be alarmed. So happens that God's way is the right way for all of us, and I strongly contend, and I will prove in this candidacy, and I make a very hard bargain tonight, and I shall always keep it that way. We are going to save our union and save our democracy and indeed save our very way of life by appealing to the only power that can work in these trying times, in my view. It's this or we fail. I'm certain if you stick with me in this campaign that you'll discover that exact truth. If you can't see it clearly already, I think many of you, when you're being honest with yourselves, we have talked about many of those threats are, but indeed, make no mistake, one of those critical threats is China and the threat of their war with the United States. They're in a technology war. And should we not join them soon and surpass and beat them in the area of technology and where we belong, and to reclaim our self-determination so that we can have our founding principles within our founding documents restored? We have to get back to that life now, and we have to be sensible in that, and we have to get it done. I think hard bargain here is quite clear with our challenges, and we're going to lose our very way of life, folks. And trying to surpass and overtaking our country is a very real threat, but not the only threat that can do us in, as it so happens to be. We have threats ranging from nuclear proliferation to global warming, and global warming is a major deal, and Trump doesn't make you feel better about this at all. These are desperate times, and we are so infuriated that nothing is being done about all of this. I can see the pain, and I know that plight, and I have lived that plight with you, and I continue to live that plight, and I will not stop living that plight until I have atoned that plight in the conditions of ordinary Americans. Like myself. Senator Warren says she has a plan for everything, but I don't think she has a plan for me. And indeed, you bet I have a plan, my fellow Americans. I do have a plan. Why is it that I find it so incredibly easy what we must do, but all of my opponents do nothing. But they do bicker and whine and make many of us lose our sanity. And this is just being, as I like to say, an honest broker of truth. I will not be personally attacking my opponents, as they also need to be part of that solution. So it's true, and I do have a way, and it makes sense. It's that way. And stick with me like the very folks we have already, and watch what we can do. And I appeal to my brothers, and I appeal to my sisters. I appeal unto God himself. Citizens, activate. We are in the great time of our forefathers aforementioned the great need for our self-determination so far back then, that so media pressing now and the current needs lacking not met. We need to address this crisis that nothing short of a miracle, that crisis from which we must come. Nothing but a miracle. I come with the love of God and with his people, and we are ready to do that work, my friends. I know. I see every time another supporter says to me, and that the routines and struggles they see me going through, just as they do. We are ready for change, and it's from here that change always has happened. But when it has been the best throughout history, from what is the likelihood from all of those who have been in power, privileged. What are the odds that they have the answers of our time? What's to say they even at all answer of our times in recent past? These are the same people against all odds have been screwing things up, and it's just wrong. It's not that we're playing the odds game here, folks, and letting the best man of our times, like we can all agree on, and that speaks the answers, that talks to the issues of average Americans, that has the high privilege and honor of serving the American people unto victory. And that, my fellow Americans, is what is in our founding documents, and that is also in the embodiment of our self-determination and our spirit. Not our money, after all. With our spirit, we can create a whole new valley of life. Just as money today is valued by persons, we will build a super consumer just to develop a great new technological age and to see to the challenges of our times. And anything short will not be bold enough to have a real chance of success. And anything less would be a waste of our true abilities and our spiritual passion in that almighty love for each other and our maker, in the senses that we come to make these changes now. We can all feel in these times that we have this true vibrant of self-determination, that which we are so free to exercise the miracle of this nation standing right before our eyes the whole time. Answering God shall we trust once more. God bless you, and a special thanks to two very special donors. Brandon, thank you for being part of the solution. For the times that we're in are so close to the end times, yet so close to the new age of spiritual enlightenment and a new way of doing business in America, and brand new times. And we know that this is needed to avert the catastrophe that we're headed to. It does not care if we all lose, and in some cases prefers it. This is where we find ourselves smack directly in the middle of evil, trying to find the very nature of this monster of evil is easy to see from an honest broker of truth. We all know that it feels like we are in the apocalypse now, and it's now or never before, and it's coming so fast approaching and clear to see. Perhaps, too, is by design and a test for us to meet these times or fail, given for one reason or another. And there has never been a high number of practical and realistic end-time scenarios that is sure to meet humanity's next decade-ending scenario, and yet we have all always knew it would have to be dealt with within the next 20 to 50 years anyway. It's enough, and we must deal with these times if we are to pass the test of our times. And you know this, just as I say to every honest broker of truth, you know it's true. So people of sound mind and sound judgment, come together and take this exercise in self-determination, and the best way to do that is to join our campaign for the very cause of freedom. For the freedom that will take us all the way straight off a cliff again, the way they do it. And this time they'll take our people with them. However, make no mistake, our lack of already having been in this new age has cost many more millions of lives than wars alone in the past have. And war itself is a derivative of this exercise that we are up to in self-determination now. It's critical, and the need couldn't have been greater. One way, and we'll answer, and that is exactly where they take us, folks. our self-determination. We must meet all these needs. And we have to unite our people once again, giving life to the American spirit and setting the best example for the world. And instead of making the worst case for self-determination, which is freedom, that we can instead make the best case for it. All we need to do is take care of humanity in our country and have the courage to get it done like never before. Indeed, this is a great new age of spiritual enlightenment for many of us, but just an enlightenment indeed that we need, so says all of us, and you know it too. Science and the spiritual world are one on this and so much more in reality, because this world in which science studies God's world, so says your happy healer. And I have Brenda here that she did send to me some of these sustenance that I need, like socks, and I will tell you that Brenda has been just like God and serving for God for me. So we'll have a special on that touching event soon, showing you just how pulling together and what looking and seeing what love can precisely do, and each of us can play a role in that. And what can I say when I fell in critical times again, which I'm almost out of at this very moment, but not even so long ago left. This test is for all of us, and yet we are also aware of the two Americas. Don't underestimate the spiritual reason why that's true, and how many people are feeling depressed, spending not nearly enough time on their spiritual studies. So doing the right thing also happens to raise the human spirit. Make no mistake about that, my fellow Americans. These many challenges can be dealt with, and many more that we have not yet known, because we as Americans do have self-determination right now, still yet, and we have a very valid reason to be determined, because tough times are ahead. So you can look at it one way or another, but we have serious problems approaching us right now. Instead of failing to meet those times and suffer the consequences that failing holds, which includes a civil war, perhaps worse, maybe, but I'd rather just make the investment into a happy American spirit, which allows us to meet our challenges, and we have to take those challenges one day at a time, my fellow Americans, and I know we can do it. Take those days as they come, and let's fight for a future worth having. My fellow Americans, let us fight for a life worth living. It's time. It's time when people like Thomas Franey, who has set up and helped your happy healer, me, just today, continue to carry on this very mission, and I am inspired by your spirit. I am engaged. So again, I say unto the citizens of my two Americas in Orlando, Florida, citizens of this faith, activate now so that we can get this great work done. It starts here and it ends everywhere, folks. That's just the way it goes either way. We're headed for an age of enlightenment, just like the one we've already had in the past. This isn't the first time. This is a new age of development for the human being, and that the best love, and that love itself is the greatest bill in life, that it's the greatest gift, that since we have the ability and the need to do it now, and that we just need the courage, so we all get that done. Why not? After all, it's exactly what we all want. Conservatives, liberals, come together. We have an America to save, and we have to participate now in the good times to do what's right for America and have foresight. This is self-determination and doing something about being overworked and underpaid. We have no choice anyway, my fellow Americans. This is the time, and it's so much more than a call to action. It's the only way forward. It's our only way to meet the challenges of our times. It's clear the natural time in the end just always makes the natural sense. And perhaps God's plan, which in its very nature, should we fail to meet these goals, then we'll fail to pass the test of our time, my fellow Americans, would be something even any scientist would tell you is true. I may sound very zealous, and I am, and I love my Creator with all of my heart, and He has carried me through the day on countless occasions. I kid you not. I am also proud that I can now stand up and stand out and step up to take the courage to do what it seems nobody else is doing this pivotal time in American history. So I say stand up and be counted. Donate to this campaign, the Happy Healer campaign, and let's get involved and be part of unity instead of part of war. I leave you folks with a photo that I took on the road the other day. That's on the picture. It was on the back of a pickup truck, and I thought it would make the perfect call to action in picture. And I also get it to do it this way, and I perceived it myself to be. It says, put on the full armor of God, folks. What is the full armor of God? How can I put on the whole armor of God? The armor of God is a metaphor in the Bible, Ephesians chapter 6, verses 10-18, that both reminds Christians about the reality of spiritual battle and describes the protection available today. The full armor of God takes Christians to calls and to comprise of the belt of truth and the breastplate of righteousness and the gospel of peace and the shield of faith and the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit. And my fellow Americans, as your happy healer, President Democrat Keith Landy, I plan to do exactly that, my fellow Americans. Put on my full armor of God and take this true gospel to the White House. Welcome back, folks. Welcome back. That, my fellow Americans, is the truth for this Wednesday evening. Get involved in this campaign. God bless you. God help us all. This is a call to action. Donate, get involved, and let's grow this movement. God bless you. God bless America, and take care. Sounds weird to me without music. And so I'm doing an updated, edited version anyway. And what'll happen is unbelievable. I'm gonna go back inside. Oh boy. I'll tell you. They sure do like to. This is what's happening. This is the real life. This is the life that we have to contend with. I don't like what I see. I can't control it. I can't make it go away. I can just try to be part of the answer and actually do it in a way that is decent, that gives back. It's the right thing to do. And if we don't get around to doing things the way that we know is responsibly right, then we all have to kind of deal with what comes out of that. And it just feels like we should be able to do better. And that's my thinking on it. And so just try to get out of this crazy frame of mind. And it's not healthy. Try to be healthy. Try to think healthy. And to have, that's why I bring the Happy Healer along with me, because I have some pretty good happy healing methods that actually work. And these happy healing methods, you can literally take to the bank. They've worked very well for me and my friends. And I'm so happy about that. I'm so proud about that. It's not something I'm selling. I'm just trying to help improve our society. It's really scary what's going on. And people are really losing themselves. And we have to think about that. We have to really think about that. If we don't start doing something to address all of the despair that we're seeing around, then what's going to happen is things are going to get worse before they get better. And I really do fear that we are not doing the things we need to do to meet the test of our time. And that's scary. We really can do so much better. And we owe it to ourselves to do better as well, because unless we do take the initiative and respond in advance and with intent and do it now, then I don't think we're going to be able to achieve any progress that leads to the answers that will solve the severe issues that we're dealing with. And we know what they are. We have California that's sitting on so many earthquake zones and fault zones, and we also have Yellowstone that can erupt. We have other major global warming concerns. We have, aside from that, the human condition with greed. It's overtaking our lives, making it absolutely impossible to step forward. I contend that unless you address that, then life will continue to whirlpool into oblivion, because the average human being knows these things, really. The average human being knows these things, and they are deathly afraid. They're ready for change. And so they want to see somebody take leadership and be able to explain what is happening in a way that they can understand. That because I have been so happy healer, just loving, and that I've gotten really rid of all of my hate. Like, I've worked so hard to not have any resentments towards anyone for anything. And it just makes no sense. And so subsequently I can get angry, but I get over it quickly and I move on. And I don't try and blame things or have scapegoats. I just try to have reasons to get things right. You know, I say atone sometimes, and that's exactly what I mean by that. Make them right. Justice, get it to be where it's supposed to be. Because the American people have been suffering this for too long. It's not their burden. This is not their fault. And we shouldn't lose our self-determination when we have great lives. And that's exactly what's happening right now. We're headed down a road of losing our own self-determination. And we have to consider why we are doing that. It's just insanity at its worst level. We have to just pull back. And so that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm doing my best for making the argument every day. And I just did the speech that I feel very strong about. And it played live, but it didn't have the music. And so it's just the way it went. That's fine. Well, what we'll do is we'll continue to make speeches that make sense to the reality that we're in, the conditions, of course, I contend solutions, and we'll continue to sell that plan to the American people. We'll make our case. Nothing should be given to anyone. That everybody makes a case, but do give a fair handshake. I think that's fair. And that you ask for a fair handshake, and so that you should get one. And that you're willing to discuss whatever it is, that you can explain things quite clearly. And our time, I think we can't afford for being so picky in terms of who has the right answer. And the reason why is because no one else has any answer that works for us. This is an answer that works. So unless we do things that make sense, like to actually have that spiritual enlightenment, and think about it. If just the people who say they are spiritually enlightened were to now go Democrat and vote for me, then we would lead the Democrat Party and we would win Trump. That's clear. The Democrats would come with us and we would beat Trump. Now let's just say the spiritual people and also just the people of reason, because this is a very sound argument. It's based on reason. That's why I say science is part of this argument, because I believe in God wholeheartedly, but I believe science and everything here in this world is a product of God's creation. It just makes perfect sense. I mean, if there is a God, there is no other way than that science is also a part of God's creation. So I just have very common sense policies that I've come to, and I talk with common sense. I speak to the average man. I don't understand why the politicians can't do that. Then I say, yes, I can, because they are not one of us, so they would never know. And they just don't have that same outlook. And that what we need is trust in this time. We need trust, and we need vision, and for somebody to have the courage to do it. And I don't think I see anybody out there with the courage, and quite frankly, I have that courage. I do. Because I know that if not, it'll be far less courage than having to deal with the hell we're all going to have to deal with. Apparently, many of you think that it takes less courage. Well, I'll tell you what. Here's the deal. Come with me on this journey, and then you can actually be a part of something so very special, and at the same time, you can go ahead and act with courage without actually having to make the sacrifice of running yourself. Knowing all this stuff is true now, that you do know, and I also know it's true. And so do us all a favor and get involved and help in the campaign, donate, do what you can, get groups, knock on doors, share the message if this is what you want to. Very simple. I drive a very hard bargain. Okay, folks, thank you very much for listening, and we shall talk to you soon.